8th March 2014 at 1:45 p.m., a Malaysia plane MH370 departed for China from Malaysia. This flight had 249 people. The captain of the plane was Zahiri Ahmed Shah. The second pilot of the plane was Farik Abdul Hamid. But friends, after about 40 minutes, this plane disappeared somewhere. This is the biggest mystery of aviation history. What happened to this plane? This video is going to be very interesting. After flying for 40 minutes, this plane reached a point which is called Igari. This place is the border of Vietnam. In Malaysia, the air traffic controller asked the pilots to talk to the air traffic controller of Vietnam because this plane was near the border of Vietnam, but after this plane suddenly disappeared from the radar. Such a big plane, 239. How can it disappear suddenly? Friends, people in China were waiting for their loved ones at the airport. They were told that the plane will be a little late, but where did they know that they would never be able to meet their loved ones again? Hours passed and people's anxiety increased, and then they were told that this plane has disappeared somewhere. Friends, in the military radar of Malaysia, it was seen that this plane had moved away from its path. This plane suddenly turned left while flying. This plane turned 180 degrees and started flying back to Malaysia. Now this is so strange. A plane that had to go to China. Why did it turn back after moving away from its path? This point is very important, because either the pilots did this on purpose or someone hijacked this plane and forced it to turn. Another interesting thing was that when this plane turned, it was the area of Thailand's air defense system. But this plane was very carefully moving with it, that if Thailand's air defense system detects this plane, that is, at this time, whoever was controlling this plane was an expert of this area. Pilots or someone else had an idea how to escape and get ahead so that no one can trace this plane. Friends, this plane passed over Malaysia after this. Actually, Malaysia has an island, the island of Penang. On this island, a mobile phone company's satellite had captured the mobile signals of the pilot Farik Abdul Hamid of this plane. That is why it is understood that this plane had passed over the island of Penang. The island of Penang is located in the middle of the Indian Ocean, and this plane was flying over the Indian Ocean, friends. It was also known through data that this plane kept flying for 6 hours even after it was lost. The question arises that who was the one who changed the path of this plane and flew it? Did the pilots of the plane do this on purpose? And from here comes the story of Captain Zahiri Ahmed Shah. Today, many people believe that this man deliberately destroyed this plane. Friends, many people believe that Captain Zahiri kept flying this plane for 6 hours, so that this plane could disappear. There was a flight simulator in Captain Zahiri's house. Flight simulator is a virtual experience of flying a plane, in which a person really feels that he is flying a plane. Before flying this plane, Captain Zahiri had flown a plane in the same route in his flight simulator, that is, towards the Indian Ocean. That is why the most doubt is going towards Captain Zahiri, that he deliberately turned the plane. Friends, the second theory was that this plane was hijacked, and the pilots were forced to turn this plane. There were also 2 people in this plane who were traveling with stolen passports. But after investigation, it was found that they wanted to reach Germany so that they can take refuge there. That is, the theory of hijacking is true, but maybe it is not that good, and that is why all the doubt goes to Captain Zahiri. But it is obvious that nothing can be said with confidence. This is just an allegation. Anyway, this plane took a right turn from the island of Penang. This plane was flying on such a route where no one was seen. That is why the same thing comes up again and again, that a very expert pilot was flying this plane who knew how and in which direction the plane was flying. This plane flew from here to another point to Vempi, and from there to another point to Mekar. It was almost 2:30 p.m. Friends, this point was Mekar. From here, this plane disappeared forever. Now, this can be said with a lot of surety that this plane was deliberately crashed. Was it the crash pilot or someone else? No one can tell correctly. If this plane had a black box, then at least the recordings of the pilots would have been found, what they were talking about. And what actually happened there in the black box, all the conversations of the pilots are being recorded, and despite the crash of the plane, this black box is safe and sound. Friends, later, the debris of this plane, that is, some parts of the plane, were found from the Reunion Island, that is, the Indian Ocean, where this plane crashed. It was part of the wing of this plane. The Malaysian Prime Minister had said that he had also confirmed that this plane crashed in the south of the Indian Ocean, but even today, this plane could not be found. As I announced on 24th of March last year, flight MH370 tragically ended in a southern Indian Ocean. Many countries have spent billions of rupees to find the wreckage of this plane, but the sea is so big that finding this plane is very difficult. But friends, recently NASA's one aviation expert, Richard Godfrey, has claimed that this plane is thousands of kilometers away from the city of Perth, Australia, in the Indian Ocean. There is a theory that whenever a plane passes by a radio signal, it disturbs the signals there. According to this, in this part of the Indian Ocean, that night, 130 times radio signals were disturbed. That is, there are full chances that this plane crashed in this part of the Indian Ocean, and that's why there are talks of finding it again. Anyway, this plane is still somewhere in the Indian Ocean. It was deliberately brought here. Who and why, no one knows. But friends, now the attempt to find this plane is starting again. An American company, Ocean Infinity, will find this plane in the south of the Indian Ocean through drones. This company has also said that if they get the plane, then only they will be paid. That is, one thing is also confirmed to them, that this plane is present in the South Indian Ocean, but it is submerged miles below the sea.